what they would do is come in to this spot like this and build a fire, big fire, produce coals and everything. Then they would come in on top of that, maybe put these prickly pear leaves and other rock and dirt and grass and cover it. Then they'd put back and put their roots and whatever they're going to cook, soto and different things. Cover it up and leave it for 2 days. Then they'd come back and uncover it. So when they would uncover it, they would take their bigger rocks out and lay them over to the side. But a little rock like this, it's been burned so many times, they would throw it over. Clear this out and eat. And do the same thing over and over and over. Then over 2,000 years, up to 5,000 years, they have a burned rock midden. And it's just the rock they threw out from their cooking fire. If you burn this rock that's this big, build a huge fire on it, it'll crack.
Let's see that rock again.
And then you burn it again, and it'll crack. And it'll burn it again, and about the X number of time, dadgummit, and they get them another rock right over there. They excavated one of Dr. Hall's students for his doctoral dissertation. Took the evidence that they collected that 6 weeks out there. And on one particular midden, they excavated, I've forgotten how many pits around it to see what all were they doing here. And in that, they found 8 different meat sources. And there was, I forgot how many wood funnel sources of different kinds of wood that they use there.
Now, is it unusual to have this midden on top of the hill?
No, but it's more usual it would be down. The thing about this, it's not going to get covered. It's flat up here. If you put it down there, all the erosion over 1,000 years, and it gets covered.
Yeah, there might be one down there. Or
several. Could be more than one.
So this one's more preserved because it didn't get covered up. I mean, from being...
It's still somewhat intact. It's not out of the ordinary that they would sit over here either while they're cooking or eating, who knows for sure, and you'll find flakes. And occasionally you'll find a perfect point.
Let's circle back to talking about how the arrowhead points, how those were made and how they relate to what was happening here during this period when this midden was in use.
Well, one of the reasons they liked this place, and we know they liked it because of all the things they left, was because of flint and the quality of flint. Flint is a type of chert, but anyway, flint, most people call it flint. And it was good quality. So they had water, they had food sources, they had church, they had a place to live off the hill down here. So they would come back here over and over and over for thousands of years. If you walk down through here, you find flake after flake after flake. So they spent an enormous amount of time up here in construction because all of these flakes, just piles of them from here to the edge of the cliff.
Now reinterpret that in construction. What do you mean? Making
manufacturing.
Making arrowheads?
Yeah. And possibly making blanks that later they would take down to where they were living and finishing it off.
So where does our local spring play into this ecosystem?
Only if you have water do you have people.
Yeah.
I mean, it stands to reason. You've got to have water, you got to have food, and you got to have conditions that are, Why would they live right here with the north wind?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
No.
Uh,
So what were their shelters like?
they're called wickiups, which they would gather up limbs and kind of. Here's the thing about wickiups. There can be, yours would be different from mine, probably. Be similar because we're in the same tribe, the same group.
Now, what tribe was this here, do you think?
Our tribe.
Oh, oh, that's right.
1,000 years ago, there's probably a group of 8, 10, 15 living here. You'd have a small group because your food source.
Yeah.
And you'd live here for that period of time till the food source got scarce.
Uh-huh.
Then you'd move to the other spring over there, ever how many miles? The food source got scarce. Oh, let's go back over to, because that was really good over there. And then 2 years later, it's grown back.
Uh-huh.
So you come back over here.
Well, when you look at the landscape around here, coming up the hill and everything, what are the first things that pop in your mind that the landscape would suggest about the lives of these people,
The thing that we've discovered from doing articulate excavations is that they had plenty. Contrary to what most Europeans want to say, oh, they were hungry all the time and starving. It's not that never happened, but not as much as the Europeans who look at us now, how are we doing?
Yeah.
Because they had plenty. The other thing is they could go over to the next spot. But as there got to be more people, it seems like they got more aggressive and got more warlike.
Mm-hmm.
So when the Europeans got here, had they not had enemies that lived here already more than the Europeans, they weren't worried about the Europeans. They felt sorry for them.
Mm-hmm.
But the other groups, and like the Comanches and the Apaches, they originated up in the northwest, but they had been pushed out. The group that was the most picked on was the Comanches. They were kind of short-structured people, and they weren't real masculine, whatever kind of people. But when they put a horse under them, when they finally got horses,
watch out,
they became just one with a horse.
Wow.
And then they took it out on everybody else. But the problem was there was more people then. It was more crowded. It was more like the world is today when we're fighting over territory and we're fighting over resources. Originally, when this was built right here, there was plenty. So they didn't have to fight. Just there's no reason to fight.